friends, I'm feeling inspired to make another video, and I'm really shy about filming any of my regular life, so I'm gonna just talk about stuff most of the time. And today I want to talk about how I coached myself into my first bodybuilding show, which was this past October 2016. And I'm gonna start with saying you do not have to do a bodybuilding show, no matter what your fitness goals are. I don't really recommend it. It's a little crazy. I tried to be really safe with it, and I still struggled after my show. And so I don't really recommend it. I don't know that I'll ever do it again, but I get that it's a thing that some people do, some people want to do, and I think that's cool because you can learn a lot from it. As far as health, that last little bit is not healthy, so if you're looking to be healthier, that's maybe not the best route to take. But I do want to talk about how I coach myself, and I would start with saying I did know a lot before I started. And I think everyone should be careful if you do choose to be in a show, because there are a lot of coaches out there that will starve you and that won't individualize, and so just be very, very picky. Find someone with experience who's not going to give you the same plan as everyone else, or learn a lot and do it yourself like I did. And there are a lot of things I could have done better. I would say I had a solid understanding of how to lose weight, of just the basics of cutting and bulking. I already had been lifting weights for almost a year, a few months short of a year, when I started my prep. Of the things I would have done differently, I might have started my prep more seriously ahead of time. I would focus more on upper body, and I would have started my prep earlier just because of the bulk, because I was doing a long cut. My cut was 6 months long, and I'll get into that. It sounds worse than it is, but so I would have done a longer bulk to get my upper body where I wanted it. And I would have started with bodybuilding style. When I was bulking, I was doing more powerlifting style because that's what I was used to. So those are things that I would have changed because I was not perfect. But I'll tell you how I got from the weight I was before my prep to stage, and how I maintained my muscle and all that jazz. So I knew a lot about fitness and health ahead of time. I am by no means super smart about it yet. I would like to get my personal training certification. We'll see. Well, obviously that's something I'm going to begin my studying for. But besides the point, so I knew a lot about fitness and health anyways. I've done it before. I've definitely made a mess of myself before from dieting. So I was very aware the whole time that I wanted to take it slow. I wanted to make sure I was just happy the whole way through, because I didn't want to end up going back into binge eating, which I struggled with the last time I dieted for years. And when I started cutting, I was approximately 25 pounds above what the average stage weight was going to be. And I will put a calculator in my description box, and that's where I calculated what my ideal stage weight is. I think it's by like next level or something, and it was pretty accurate. So I was in the range that they kind of recommended, and yeah, I would roll with it. So I found out what my ideal stage weight was going to be, and I mostly just trained and ate. Learned my macros. I found out I did the one I tracked using my MyFitnessPal. I started really slow. So this is what I think is key, because you don't want to cut super, super fast. So I did a gram of protein per pound of body weight, and then I did like macro percentages. And so I had a caloric goal, and then I tracked my 3 macros at first. And so when I first started, I was cutting at like 1,700 calories, and I was actually eating more than that. So this is the good part. The good news is you can still eat a lot at first, and this is part of what the perks of doing a slow cut is that you just cut a little bit at a time, just gradually lowering, because why would you eat less right off the bat? Because then your body's just going to adjust to it, and it's not going to be as fun at the end, because you're going to be like plateaued and stuck and not know what to do, and you can't, it's just not worth it. So I set my caloric intake goal around 1,700, and I learned through my prep that I tended to go a little bit over that caloric goal almost every day, which is fine. So I was probably cutting at like 1,700 to 1,900 calories, and I was only lifting. But I switched to bodybuilding style when I was doing my cut. I was doing lots of lunges, I still tried to go pretty heavy, but I was doing like high reps for sure, and I was doing high sets too. So that's basically, I wasn't really doing any cardio. About midway through my prep, about 3 months in, I was trying to run more often. And I only ran like 1 to 3 miles, 1 to 3 times a week. It was very rare. And it was just more of like, it's summer, I want to be outside thing. So I did a little cardio. And I see a lot of people around me doing cardio. I was like, this is what bikini girls do, so I might as well do cardio. Most people in bodybuilding don't go on runs, but that's just what I did. But I focused mostly on hitting my goals and getting my lifts in. My percentages, I did the 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fat. I usually ended up having more carbs than protein at the beginning, as I started to cut calories in order to reach that protein limit. The carbs went down just naturally, and I stopped trying to get the carbs and the fats and the proteins to fit a certain percentage towards the like second half of my prep. And I just made sure I got the protein in, and I let the carbs and fats fall where they did, and I was fine. Basically what I did was a slow cut. I would cut, I think I once saw it recommended that you only cut 50 calories like every 2 weeks. I cut when I plateaued my calories. So the first month went really well. The second month did not go very well. So then I wasn't really doing anything anymore. So then I started taking it more seriously. And then once I would plateau at my weight for like a week or two, I would cut my calories down by like 100. And it only happened a couple times. And the lowest I ever went, which I am not proud of because I was still working out and lifting weights, was like 1450 was my average. And that was like at the very, very end of the last month. And it was very focused on getting protein in, so I was only getting like 100 grams of carbs. But I don't recommend going under your BMR. And that was, I think, around or slightly under what mine was. I think that might have been just above. But I was working out, so I don't feel like that's fair to my body. And I could feel it. I was not very happy at the end. But I really didn't want to fail, and I was doing it myself, and I didn't really have any direction. Like, I had no one to help me, so all I could think was, like, I need to cut, but I need to maintain muscle. So I just did what I had to do. I got my workouts in, like, and as far as cardio, I would say all I did at the end was, I never went over 10 minutes of cardio, really. I think one day I did 20 minutes, and that was because I took a big scoop of pre-workout. And so I did my lift and, like, 20 minutes on, like, the treadmill or something, and that was not even consistent. I did like 10 minutes on the stairs about 3 times a week, like that last month. And that last week, peak week, was like a disaster. I just didn't get very much in. So you don't have to go by the standards. You don't have to go overly strict about it. I obviously didn't win, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, I did my best. And also, I would say just do a lot of research. That's what I did. I watched a lot of people on YouTube. I read a lot of articles. I just studied so much. And it may not be the perfect way to do it, but half the people that are coaching people are just going off of what they've been coached before. So that is how I did it. And I'm pretty satisfied with doing it by myself. I'm pretty proud of myself. So, all right. So to conclude, how I did it was I basically was consumed with it for 6 months straight. I think it was well worth it. I think it's totally possible for people to coach themselves. I think it's also very smart to make sure you're very well educated on fitness and health and bodybuilding and so much. And just be prepared to be consumed with it, because it was all I wanted to talk about. It was like all I focused on. I was watching videos while I was at work about it. Like, I was reading up on it all the time. I was watching other people and trying to like compare and contrast. So just prepare to be consumed by it. But I feel like even if you have a coach, you're going to be consumed by it. So, yeah. So, good times. All right. Have a good day, everyone. Bye. I tried to film my shoulder superset and I had the camera facing the wrong way, so I guess I'll film round 3.